For 10 years, we've waited to see who the Ascians really are, and with one of the Unsundered remaining, I wonder if this is the year where all our questions are answered. For what are warriors of light, but earnest souls of good intent, resolved to do what is right, regardless of the consequence? This gives me chills. I tell you this right now, hands down. Both intent, right, and consequence are really the key words that I'm just drawn to. Namely because, the phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Obviously, we're resolved to do which is right. That's what we were here to do. And that in doing what is right could lead to disastrous consequences, in which, in my mind, would be the 8th umbral calamity. It's really hard for me to put into words just how exciting this year's New Year's greeting from Yoshi-P is. It feels like we're right on the precipice. There is a great mist that has been before our eyes for the last 10 years, and it's about to all come to fruition. I guess maybe the word I'm searching for is surreal. And with that, I just want to say Happy New Year, Workforce. Brian here. And in this video, we're going to be going over the New Year's greeting. I'm just going to read it verbatim, and then we're going to discuss what it means for 2020 and for Final Fantasy XIV. It's such a milestone this year to be celebrating both my 10-year wedding anniversary and 10 years playing Final Fantasy XIV, of which both have been very impactful. I would say my marriage, definitely the most impactful. I love you, sweetie. But we've also seen such a huge outpouring of support, both on YouTube, on Twitch, and more. And in fact, I've seen such a huge support over at my Ginger Prime channel, which we just kind of started. We're already over 600 subscribers, so if you're interested, go check that channel out as well. Would love it. We'll have a link in the description for you as one of the top links. If you're interested, go check it out. We also post a couple other videos today talking about New World and talking about Ashes of Creation, and more MMO content is going to be coming for you on this channel, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. And we're also giving away some Amazon gift cards. If you guys haven't caught those previous videos, just be sure to subscribe and ring that bell, and follow us over on Twitter, in which that we'll be doing some announcements. We actually gave away 2 Nimbus Cloud mounts just the other day. We were originally going to give a 1, but 2 people came in so close together, I just had to give them another one. So congratulations to our Nimbus Cloud winners. We really appreciate the fact that you guys are commenting in the comments below. I'll be your golden huckleberry each and every day. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the meat of this video and talk about the new year and what our hopes are for 2020 for Final Fantasy XIV. I want to know what you're thinking. So, let's do this. Hello, this is producer and director Yoshi-P, being voiced by Brian from Work to Game, wishing all of you Warriors of Light a very happy new year. 2019 was an incredible important year for us, as our 3rd expansion, Shadowbringers, saw the player experience and overall quality of the game improve by leaps and bounds. This would never have been possible without the devotion and the continued support of you, the Warriors of Light. So I'd like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude. Over the last year, I've had even more chances to travel overseas, and from meeting players around the world and taking part in interviews. I've really gained a sense of how much Final Fantasy XIV has grown. The 2nd orchestral concert is held in Japan, and while we had fan festivals not only in North America, Europe, and Japan, but China and South Korea as well. So there's been a lot going on, both inside and outside of the game. Although everyone in the development operations team have been taking time off over the new year, the 5.x series is proceeding at pace. Patch 5.18 was released at the end of the year, and most of the 5.2 content is now ready. But from the start of this year, we'll be carrying out our adjustments and our testing for bugs and releasing patch 5.2, Echoes of a Fallen Star. Really excited about that one. That's Brian, as an aside. Planning for mid-February. To bring this to a close, the critically acclaimed Shadowbringers and patches 5.2, 5.3 form 2 halves of a single chapter, and there are a lot of surprises in store for the first half, so please look forward to it. Speaking of surprises, I find a bizarre note on my desk, although its true meaning remains something of a mystery. And like we said at the start of this video, for what are Warriors of Light but earnest souls of good intent, resolved to do which is right regardless of the consequence? This seems that it was found hidden in the Crystarium's extensive library, but this is historic fact, or is it some form of prophecy? Now we're entering into the 10th year since the release of the original Final Fantasy XIV, so it's been 10 years since I first became involved with the project as we step into a new decade. You can be sure that there will be an amazing fan festival to mark the occasion, and we're also working our socks off to bring you more epic adventures. So here's to a great 2020 and Happy New Year. So Happy New Year to the dev team and Yoshi-P on this as well. I have to say that Shadowbringers has been truly, truly epic and amazing from a story and a narrative perspective. I never really quite expected it to be that good. What I mean by that is that when you see on the outside how Shadowbringers is probably the best Final Fantasy game released in a long time, maybe if ever. Honestly, for me, I think that Tactics probably holds true to one of the greatest Final Fantasy games and stories kind of ever told. I have a huge love and respect for Final Fantasy VI. 12 really blew my socks off. 15 was interesting because if you experience it as a whole, it can be really solid and really good game, but I hope they don't do that again. And then obviously we're right on the precipice of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I won't be playing right away. I'm going to have to be watching from the sidelines till the PS5 comes out or the game goes multi-platform sometime next year. There's going to be a ton of great games that I'm going to get to play and going to be playing, so it's not going to be that bad, but I know I really, really wish I could sit back and play that. I think it's an important part of Final Fantasy history. I think it's almost required reading if you think about it. If you think about Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's pretty much, play it at some point. You got to. And with the release of PS5 and the Xbox One X, Series X, whatever the hell, whatever. With that, we'll hopefully see, just a really whole new generation. Final Fantasy XIV is finally coming to Xbox this year as well. So many things to look forward to. Narratively in the story piece, I want to know what the echo is. I want to know, is it our fault? Is it our fault, if things go to heck and just like I was rooting for Bahamut back in 1.0 because we really need the game to be remade, I wonder if that same scenario will prove true. This has to be the most exciting time to be a player of 14, whether you're on a break right now or you're actively enjoying the content, because we really don't know what's about to happen. We can predict the typical patch cycle, we can predict that 5.3 should wrap up the story, but he talks about 5.2 and 5.3 being two halves of a whole. Now typically the patch stories end in 5.3 and we know we'll get a 5.4 this year. We'll also have the Fan Fest, which will be really exciting, and you should absolutely go if you get the opportunity. But what's to come after this? Sure, they talked about new stories, sure, they've talked about continuing the game. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense to turn it off. There's plenty of people who are excited about it. And that's all good. But I think I really enjoy the mystery of it. And that's why I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. If everything holds true, Shadowbringers' story should technically conclude around 5.3, with 5.4 starting to set up the whole next scenario. But who knows? We're going to have to be on this journey together. Now, as far as the year goes, I can easily see that 5.3, E3, being the time in which that 14 does come to the Xbox finally after years of waiting. I do predict that it's coming to the Xbox One, and I do predict that there's going to be a next generation version PS5 and Xbox Series X, either backwards compatible or enhancement mode. Because the game is designed for PC, it actually gives a lot of credence and strength to that they can really open it up for those platforms as well. So we'll have to ultimately wait and see what Square Enix and what Yoshi-P has in store as far as that game and the content goes hand in hand. And lastly, I'm not going to talk about spoilers for the story or my predictions as to whom is behind the mask and different things like that. You can go probably check out Reddit and some lore subreddits if you're if you're more interested in that kind of information. But what I want to talk about as kind of an aside is that as the game does come to Xbox and as the concept of Xbox Game Pass comes into light, I'm wondering what that's going to mean for the future of this game. We've long talked about, and I know there's people who get concerned about what I'm about to say, so just bear with me just 1 second. We long talked about the subscription model for the game. I'm definitely pro subscription models for these kind of games. I think they build better communities because everybody's kind of bought in. I think there's risks, and we've seen that plenty of times in other industries, but With services like Game Pass and PlayStation Now and things of that nature, there could be a collaboration between Final Fantasy XIV and those services. Not that they would probably receive the whole game, but if you think about ARR in its base game form, imagine with like Game Pass and we'll say PlayStation Now as well, if those services open it up so like everybody has access to ARR and they're technically subscribed up to ARR, and they would have to, I guess, additionally subscribe if they wanted to get into the most current content. But if you think about it, you have this established game, you have this way that people can play and experience the game as a part of these other services could really help bolster the community and introduce people who might be wary of an MMO into that economy and into that market. Obviously, I definitely hear any comments saying like toxicity, like you're just going to welcome in a bunch of people who are just going to, just really kind of be bad. And yes, you're going to have to take with the bad with the good, right? We see that regardless of what game you're playing. But it's just a thought that is in my mind that I just cannot seem to separate myself from. And I would love to know your thoughts about that. Like, how would Game Pass and PlayStation Now have a positive impact on this game, in your opinion? What would you like to see them do? Because it just feels like if they don't do something, that would be a shocker. All of the Final Fantasy libraries come into Xbox through Game Pass. And I think Microsoft's got a really big initiative to try to get as many people subscribed to Game Pass as absolutely possible. So that only seems to make sense, that 14 and hopefully 11, and who knows what else they've got planned coming out this year. So that's going to wrap it up. We've, as you've seen probably today, a lot of content rolling out. We've got a lot of content planned. We've got a lot of stuff going on over at Ginger Prime. Also, be sure, again, to sub and ring that bell and follow us on Twitter because we're going to be doing those giveaways. Like I said, I really am excited about 2020. I cannot believe we're over 50,000 subscribers, so 50,000 times thank you very much. I love each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. It really is a community here, and I'm so thankful to be a part of this community, to be a part of this game, and to be a part of the YouTube algorithm whenever it decides to do what it does. This is going to be the year we're going to try to make our best content ever. This is also going to be the year that we can hopefully help encourage you as a creator to jump in and start making content. I've got a couple of Final Fantasy creators that I've discovered, and hopefully I'm going to be kind of putting some stuff out there and directing you guys to them as well. Stay tuned as we do kind of creator spotlights rolling out over the rest of this year. Also, on a final plug, we've got She Heals, I Tank coming on the podcast next Wednesday. So stay tuned. Look forward to that coming out here on YouTube as well. So we thank each and every one of you guys. Hope you guys have a merry, happy new year. And I'll see you in my next video. This has been Brian for Work to Game. Hope you have a great week and take care.